Hey my friends, welcome back to another What's for Dinner. If you're new here, my name is Melissa and I hope to provide you with some meal ideas for your meal planning. These meals are really delicious and very easy to make. So let's go ahead and head to my kitchen and see what's for dinner. Tonight we're having breakfast sandwiches for dinner, so I'm starting out with some hash browns. I have some Tennessee Pride sausage that I've flattened out for the sandwich, as well as frying some eggs with breaking the yolks for the sandwich as well. Here it is put together. The hash browns were a delicious side, as well as some beautiful fruit, and this was a very easy and very delicious dinner. On this night, my husband requested a salad. So I have the chicken, I'm frying up some bacon, as well as boiling some eggs for some of the additions. I also have some diced ham and some cheese, and then of course 2 different kinds of lettuce. So this is just one of those super easy meals that's just very quick, very easy to put together, and just very filling and light. You're full, but you don't feel stuffed. Tonight for dinner, my son wanted some fried rice, and so he's actually going to make that. And I wanted a pork tenderloin, so I'm going to cook my pork tenderloin in slices, and I'm going to use this sauce to kind of stir fry it. I'm going to saute some green beans, and for the fried rice, I think this is all he needs. I went ahead and cooked some rice. I have soy sauce. He has this sesame oil. I tried to find frozen carrots and peas, and I couldn't. They had none, so I just had to get this. I hope it works. I don't know. And an onion and bell pepper, and I'm going to go ahead and chop these up so when he gets home he can get started on the fried rice. Oh, and an egg or 2. I don't know how many he's going to use. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get these diced up and this sliced up and my green beans sauteing so that I can kind of get ahead of the game. I didn't realize that this package came with 2 strips of tenderloin. So this is just how I'm going to chop them up. And I'm just going to use one and I'm going to put the other in the freezer. Dinner's being cooked on a wing and a prayer tonight. So I'm kind of just winging it. I think for the green beans, I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to the pan. And then as far as the seasoning, I think I'm just going to use a little bit of soy sauce and some of that General Tso's sauce for flavor, and just let that saute and put a cover on it and let it kind of steam too. But that's pretty much how I'm going to cook the green beans. I've got some pepper in it, so I think before I add the soy sauce and the other sauce, I'm going to cover it and let the green beans soften just a little bit. But I'm going to have it on a low heat. All right, I've got the sliced pork tenderloin in here, and I'm sauteing it, just browning it on both sides. And once I brown them on both sides, then I'll add the sauce, cover it, and just let it cook. All right, I have it seared on both sides, and I have the temperature down on low. And so now I'm just going to cover each one with some of the sauce. And then I'm going to cover the pan or the skillet. And I'm going to let that just cook on low until everything is done. For the fried rice, I have just a little bit of soy sauce and maybe like a teaspoon of the sesame oil, And I'm gonna start this on a low heat because I don't want it to cook too fast, but I'm gonna go ahead and add the chopped bell pepper or diced bell pepper. And I'm adding the chopped onion, and I'll scrape that off in a second. But I'm using a whole onion and a whole bell pepper because my son wanted to make extra of this because he wants to take some to work for a couple of days. So that's why I'm making so much of the fried rice. And I'm just gonna saute this until these are tender because I do not like crunchy vegetables in my fried rice, and I don't really like any other vegetables. I am gonna add peas and carrots in there. I actually did add most of the peas and carrots that were in that can. I drained them real good, and I forgot to film it when I was adding it, but anyway, I'm letting that cook in here as well. My pork slices are pretty much done, and the green beans are pretty much done. So now I'm just gonna work on the fried rice, and my son is on his way home, but he's kind of given me further instructions. So now I'm just gonna start adding rice in here and letting it cook slowly. As I add each bit of rice, I add some soy sauce. This time I'm adding some sesame oil, but he did tell me that a little sesame oil goes a long way. So I don't think I added any more sesame oil. I just kept adding soy sauce. My son finally made it home, so he said I need to add some more soy sauce. So I added a little more soy sauce, stirred that up real good, and then it was time for me to add the egg. So I just kind of made a space in the center of the skillet and I started out with one egg, but we decided we needed two. But I just put the egg in there, let it start cooking a little bit, and once it kind of started getting white, I broke up the yolk and kind of started stirring it up, kind of scrambling it to add to the rice. Once the eggs were done, or almost done scrambling in the center, I then just started stirring the rice together to mix it all in with the rice, if that makes sense. I don't know what happened to the rest of the video of me finishing the rice, but this was the dinner and it turned out so delicious. I will definitely be making this again. For dinner on this night, we're having cheesy tomato ground beef tortellini. That's kind of a mouthful. And I did this recipe for a fall comfort food video, and I will put a link to that in the description box so you can see the recipe. And on that video, I also have the link, and I will try to link it down in the description box below here. But it's very simple to make. You just brown your ground beef, put the onion and bell pepper in there. I put some garlic powder, some oregano, some minced onion, and then I added some salt and pepper. So those are really all the seasonings that you need. Once you've started in all your seasonings, you add in 8 ounces of cream cheese, and I have cubed this up just to make it a little bit easier for it to melt a little quicker. But I put the lid on it and let it cook for just a few minutes. Once the cream cheese is melted, you're gonna add whatever spaghetti sauce you use. This is just what I happen to have on hand. And you add about 24 ounces, I believe. So you add about 24 ounces of spaghetti sauce and stir that up real good. Stir it until it's well combined.
Now, the recipe says to boil the tortellini, but just to make it easier on myself, I just added the tortellini straight to the sauce and ground beef, and I covered it and I let it cook until the tortellini was done. Once that was done, I put the cheese that I shredded on top, and I varied from this recipe and I just did it kind of the way it made it easier for me. And so I just put the lid on it, let the cheese melt, and then it was all ready. And it was so good. In fact, I had some left over, so I ate it one day for lunch, and it was just as good as it was the night I made it.
Tonight I'm making cheeseburger soup, and for this, you need your ground beef, you need onion and celery, and I already have this from the freezer, so I'm just gonna use it. You need potatoes, either Velveeta or shredded cheese. So I've got that to shred. A 1/4 cup of flour, you need some milk and sour cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and start browning the ground beef. Now I will have this recipe linked in the description box, and my meat is still kind of frozen a little bit, but I'm following it loosely. So once I get the ground beef chopped up, it says to drain it and then cook the carrots and celery and all that stuff, but I'm not using carrots because I don't have any, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And I'm just gonna, once I get this chopped up, I'm gonna just add the veggies to this and let it finish cooking that way. So that's, yeah, the recipe will be linked below, but this is just how I'm doing it tonight because I'm in a hurry.
The recipe calls for 3 cups of chicken broth, but I never understood putting chicken broth in a beef recipe. But anyway, I'm adding 1 can of beef consomme as well as 2 cups of water.
And because I like garlic and some spice in my burger, I'm just gonna add some garlic powder along with some Tony Chachere's. And mix that in as well.
While that's simmering, I'm gonna get my potatoes diced up pretty small, and then I'm gonna add that to the soup and let it cook until it comes to a boil.
Now it's starting to come to a boil, so I'm going to turn it down, and I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until the potatoes are tender.
My cheese is grated, so I'm putting 3 teaspoons of butter into a skillet and letting it melt, and once it melts, you're going to add about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour and cook that for about 3 to 5 minutes until it is back to a boil. Okay, now this has started coming to a boil, so I'm gonna turn the heat off, and I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna add it to the soup, and this is gonna start thickening up the soup. Mix all that together real good and let it start to thicken. All right, now you can see that this has started to thicken up. So you are going to add 1.5 cups of milk and your Velveeta, which the recipe says 16 ounces, or 2 cups of shredded cheese. So I'm gonna add about 2 cups, and I'm gonna leave a little bit for the top as a garnish. So I'm gonna get this stirred up and let this get all melty and cheesy. And then it will be almost time to eat. I forgot. And you're gonna add some salt and pepper to taste. The recipe says to cook it until the cheese melts, but I say cook it until it kind of comes back to a boil and starts to thicken up. So the roux that I put in there should thicken this up a little bit, so probably like 5 or so minutes. All right, so it has started thickening up. So I've got the heat turned off, and you're going to have a 1/4 cup of sour cream, and try to make sure it's kind of sort of room temperature. That way, when you add it to the soup, it doesn't like curdle. So anyway, I'm just gonna stir this in, and once it gets mixed in real well, it'll be time to eat. I've made this one other time, but this is the first time my son tried it, and he really liked it. So this is definitely a make again meal.
All right, it's Saturday, and normally I cook on Saturday night, but it is football season. So we have a game tonight at LSU, and we're going. So I was at Costco yesterday, and they had these Southwest wraps with rotisserie chicken, and there were 4, but my son had to work this morning, so he took one with him to work, and he actually texted me and said they were really good. But it comes with, let me see if I can get this open with one hand. It comes with all right, I couldn't do it with one hand, but it comes with this kind of sauce, I guess. I'm assuming it's probably like a Chipotle kind of sauce to do with it. But this is what it looks like on the inside. Looks like it's got some corn, some black beans, the rotisserie chicken. So it actually looks pretty good. And he said it was really good. And he's kind of picky. But anyway, I also bought some of this white queso and some chips. So that is what we are having for lunch today before we go to the game.
This was very good. It's one of those meals that it almost is worth the price of it, so you don't have to buy all the ingredients yourself, and it was really good. But anyway, that's all for today. I hope this has given you some kind of meal idea motivation for your meal planning. If you want more like this, then check out the box that you see on the screen. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would click the subscribe button. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye!